Well, grand risings, everybody. No matter what time it is that you're watching this, just know that construct is a time that we created. My name is Mystical Ariel, and I'm here to shake the matrix, expand our minds, and make us all think. So take a deep breath with me. Hold. And out. And again. And out. And this time, I want you to feel your body. Where it is, feel the ground, feel your heart. And welcome, you're here. Let yourself know I'm safe. And I'm in a place where I can hear. And I'm ready to learn. So we've talked about this field. The field that you exist in does not respond to your words. How it responds to your frequencies, your nervous system, your emotional pattern, and your lived state of being. This morning, talk about why it is hard to change that frequency. Why you can know all the teachings, say all the affirmations, and still feel stuck in the same reality. We're going to talk about the prison, the victim story, the programming of religion and the systems, the psychology of performance and comparison, and the deeper Gnostic truth that you are not a slave of this field. You are a spark of what wrote it. This is not just information. This is an invitation to step out of the role of victim of life and into frequencies of co-creation with Source. We are not victims. So let's begin with something from my book, Return to Eden. Victimhood is a trap, a false identity forged in the fires of fear and separation. It convinces us that life is happening to us, that we are powerless against the forces that shape our lives. But what if this narrative is an illusion? If we are truly sparks of the divine, then our essence is love, unity, and infinite potential. The idea of enemies, of us versus them, dissolves when we realize that we are all interconnected. We're all one. Because psychology, victimhood isn't just a story. It's a state. You see, in psychology, when you live a victim consciousness, your nervous system stays in constant threat mode. You're scanning for danger, betrayal, rejection. Your brain wires for self-protection, not creation. From the field's point of view, that means your frequency is, life is against me. People always hurt me. I'm powerless. And the field is a mirror and keeps reflecting that pattern back. Seeing someone as an enemy is like standing before a mirror and blaming your reflection. This is not about blaming you for your pain. It's about revealing that you are not just the one being hurt. You are also the one who can choose a different identity. Philosophically, this is the shift from determinism, everything happens to me, to agent, I participate in what unfolds. Spirituality, it's the shift from sinner, worm, unworthy, to spark of the divine, part of the whole. Where am I still choosing the role of victim? Ask yourself that. Even when my soul knows I was born as a creator. The science of unity, everything is energy. Let's go deeper into what I wrote about the science of unity. The science of unity, quantum physics supports the ancient wisdom of interconnectedness. At our core, we are energy. Every thought, emotion, and action creates ripples in the fabric of the universe. When we focus on fear or separation, we manifest those realities. But when we choose love, compassion, and unity, we co-create a world that reflects these divine qualities. Modern physics tells us that everything you see, your body, the chair, the phone, is energy, vibrating in patterns. Your brain and heart generate magnetic fields. Your emotions show up as measurable changes in your nervous system and biofield. Psychology calls the repeated emotions patterns a schema, a lens that your brain uses to interpret reality. And the schema is the not safe, I'm not enough. Your mind filters the world to prove that's true. So what happens is when your energy is, or your biology, your psychology, and your beliefs are all agree on one thing, I am separate, I am powerless, I am small, the field reflects that. The Return to Eden, I wrote, we are not separate from the design. We are living expressions of it. And look at nature. The moment, pattern in seashells, galaxies, and your DNA all mirror others. The same spirals, the same ratios, the same repeated geometry. This is sacred geometry. But it's also physics. You are not an outsider to the universe. You are made of the same patterns that shape the stars and the oceans. Gnosis truth says the divine spark in you is of the same essence of the source. Science whispers the same thing in a different language. There is one unified field, one fabric, one interconnected reality. So if you are part of the field, you are not asking it to change. You are its changing. In my book, I talk about the illusion of value and the mental prison we live in. We place so much value on this is on Return to Eden, by the way, which you can get on Amazon and also on Kindle. So we place so much value on what we own, on materials, things on the walls that imprison us. And yet those walls crumble when we see them. What they are is victimhood is trapped. We've become prisoners of our own making. But here's the paradox. We hold the key to our freedom. Everything we've been taught, from our schools to religion establishments, is missing the truth. Not one church or system fully illuminates what is real. We have been lied to, believed in fear like eternal hell or figures of ultimate evil, but the concept of diablos is misunderstood. It doesn't mean a fiery underworld. It signifies a fallen mindset, a loss of direction, or a failure to grasp the deeper truth. Gnostic's truth doesn't say there is a cartoon devil under the ground. It says the fallen state is a fallen mindset, a consciousness trapped in ignorance, fear, and separation. Psychologically, this is the internalized voice of shame. You are bad, you are broken, you are beyond redemption. Religion, when hijacked, weaponized, that same control behavior, it keeps you in a low frequency, fear and unworthiness. And if you wake up every day believing, I'm fundamentally wrong, God is far away and angry, I need an external mediator to be worthy, what does your frequencies broadcast? Guilt, fear, distance from source. And the field hears that. And your life keeps reflecting a God who's far away. People who judge you and systems that own your power. Philosophically, the Gnostic lens says the true Christ, the true Yeshua, came to remind you that the kingdom is within. That you and the Father are one, essence. That you are not a slave. You are a son, daughter, a spark. So deprogramming the prison is not about hating religion. It's about seeing through any story that tells you are less than the divine expression you actually are. So let's bring into my own story from Return to Eden, from the Awakened trilogy. There I was sitting on the beach one time at the cliffs, right? A spot in the ocean beach, surrounded by houses again, and I could feel the suffocation basically creeping back in, because there I am, not in the wilderness. Being a nomad broke me from that mindset of wanting to be in the city, basically. It liberated me from house prisons, what I call it. We willingly build ourselves around ourselves. We literally have prisons around us everywhere. But I took on the solitude life, the solitude of the desert, and it's provided opportunities to delve deep into the inner depths of myself and to peel back more layers of fear and uncover more of the divine within, being away from humanity. Nature does something to your psychology that no doctrine can. And when you go into the desert, there is no crowds at all to perform to. There are no walls, to prove your worth. It's the prickly cactus and some white desert boxes. And there are no labels no titles, and no follower counts. It's just you, the sky, and the earth, and the sand, and the dirt, and your own nervous system. And the deserts has always just been a healing place for me. Science even talks about this, that nature regulates our stress response, lowers the cortisol, helps your brain move from chaos into more coherent rhythm. Spiritually, it strips away the illusion of separation. So under a sky full of stars, it is very hard to believe you are small and meaningless. In my book I wrote, beneath the vast star-filled sky, the illusion of separation fades, like waves rising and falling in the ocean. We are not separate from the universe. We are the universe expressing itself. See, that gnosis Eden, not a garden in the past, but a state of consciousness. Now, the desert became my laboratory of frequencies, away from the noise, and I could feel what my body was actually broadcasting. Where I was still in victim, where I still believed I was separate from God. You may not go literally to the desert, but you can create your own desert spaces. Never forget that. Times where you get to unplug and go into nature and stop performing. That's where your frequencies start changing for real, not joking. Okay? So let's build a bridge. And stop talking to how to intend from coherence. From Return to Eden. This is what I wrote in my book, Return to Eden. I wrote, karma transcends punishment or reward. It is a mirror that reflects back the energy you give. Embracing karma as a spiritual law allows us to learn accountability, align with integrity, and elevate our vibrations. And I wrote, and intentions is the force that directs this energy. It acts as a bridge between thought and manifestation, sending ripple through quantum fields, a vast matrix of potential energy waiting to be shaped. When you set an intention, you tune yourself to a specific frequency. See, science gives us the language of the observer affects attention, influencing outcome at the smallest level. And quantum fields reality is a sea of potential that responds to patterns. Spirituality gives us the language of faith, prayer, intention, and desire. Psychology gives us the language of focus, expectation, self-fulfilling prophecy. See, all of this we put into this teaching to help describe the same things, just all been saying different angles. But everything is saying the same thing. What you consistently focus on, feel, and act from becomes the pattern you live inside. But here's the important part. If your intention says, I want abundance, love, freedom, but your frequencies is still broadcasting, I am unworthy, unsafe, abandoned, your intention is trying to ride on top of a field that doesn't match. That's why in the book I say, when you set an intention, you tune yourself to a specific frequency. The clearer your intention, the stronger and more precise and the vibration. But clarity is not just words. Clarity is coherence between what you believe and what you feel. How you behave, nature shows us this through simple metaphors. A seed knows the pattern of the tree inside it. It doesn't beg to be a tree. Its intention is encoded in its very being. When you align your intentions with your true nature, not with your fear, not with your programming, you are like that seed. You don't have to scream to the field. You simply grow as what you already are. You know, in my book, Return to Eden, in the later chapter, Return to Eden, I share this. This brings us to one of the most profound realizations of all. Heaven and hell are not external places. They are internal realities, reflections of the stories we tell ourselves, the patterns we choose to perpetuate, and the truth we are brave enough to embrace. Both science and spirituality agree our reality is not fixed and concrete as it appears. Quantum physics reveals that we live in a participatory universe where the act of observation itself influences outcome. See, heaven is a state of consciousness aligned with truth, unity, love. Hell is a state of consciousness trapped in fear, shame, separation. Psychology, when your inner dialogue is hell, your life feels like hell. When your inner dialogue is full of forgiveness, love, and truth, even hard things feel different. The field is participatory. You are not here watching a movie. You are influencing the script through the perception and frequencies. So when you keep talking about hell, feeding it with energy, living inside its story, you stabilize that as your frequency. When you begin to embody heaven within, not a bypassing pain, but as remembering your divine essence, even in pain, your frequencies shift. That's why in my book I wrote, in truth, you are whole. You are complete. You are a magnificent being of light and love, capable of manifesting extraordinary realities. But this truth cannot resonate fully until you reclaim your power and remember who you are. Return to Eden is not going back to the garden outside somewhere in history, but returning to the state of knowing I and the Father are one. I and creation on Source are one. I and Source are not separate. So place a hand on your heart. Close your eyes with me and let's take a breath. I want you to see this prison you've lived in, the victim stories, the religious, the shame, the comparisons and performance, the fear, and the fear that you are small, separate, or unworthy, and see the walls, see the bars. And now, remember what we said, we've become prisoners of our own making, but here's the paradox. We hold the key to our freedom. The key is realization. You are not inside the field. You are part of the forms it, of what creates it. You are not the beggar at the gate of heaven. You are the temple where heaven resides and earth meet. In your own words inside yourself, you may say, I release my identity of victim, and I release the belief that I am separate from Source. And I remember that I am a spark of the divine. And I choose to live in frequencies of love, unity, and truth. Feel that. Not a performance, not a show. It's just a quiet internal yes. Remember, whenever you feel like a victim, remember you are a creator. Peace and love. We'll see you next time.